morning, everyone. Welcome to Pennies to Dollars. I'm Bonita. I'm early retired. I live in Kansas and I live on a low income. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security, so I am riding out my early retirement until I can draw my Social Security. So today we're going to talk about different things that I've done to save money. And some of those things are just ordinary things, but they're things that all of us can do. So yesterday we had my son-in-law and my daughter over for supper. My husband made meatloaf. Now, normally we have a lot of one-pot meals that I share with you, and we stretch our meat about 3/4 of a pound per one-pot meal. But since I was able to get Chub hamburger on sale a few videos back for $3 a pound, we had meatloaf, we had mashed potatoes. I made my homemade shelf stock gravy that was gluten-free and dairy-free, and I also made some green beans. And since my daughter is dairy-free, my husband is gluten intolerant, and he's also diabetic, so we have to really watch some of the things that we serve when we have family over. But he made his meatloaf. I had him make a double batch. He makes the greatest meatloaf. He uses instant oats in his meatloaf. He used some of my homemade onion soup mix in his meatloaf, and it came out wonderful. We felt like we had a feast because so often we don't have meat as the main part of our meal, but we were able to afford to do that because I caught that great deal on hamburger. So we made extra for the week, and while he was doing that, I was taking the rest of that Chub hamburger. I was breaking it up into 3/4 pound packages and freezing it, and I was also making my homemade pantry stock gravy, and I'm going to share that recipe with you next. You can do this with either chicken base or you can do it with beef base, and when I say base, I mean like bouillon. I usually buy the powder type. I keep that as backup. Even though I make my own broth, I use the bouillon a lot of times if I don't have broth thawed out, or if I want to make some of these pantry stapled items in a jar. So I like to add a label to the front of the jar that just says what I need to add to it when I'm ready to make it. So I'm going to give you the recipe for the powdered portion in the jar, but on the front of the label, I have to add 4 tablespoons of butter, 3/4 of a cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of mix. Now, I doubled this for my family being over here so that we had extra gravy. And you just start off by putting the 4 tablespoons of butter in a pan, adding the 2 tablespoons of mix and mixing that really well before you add the water, and then you cook it until it thickens. But in the jar, you add 3 tablespoons of your bouillon powder. I used beef today. And then you add about a 1/2 of a teaspoon of black pepper and 3/4 of a cup of your choice of flour. I used Bob's 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. Now, this gravy mix will come out looking a lot lighter than the packets that you would buy in the store. The packets are a really rich, dark brown. This looks more like a cream gravy, but you can taste the beef in it, and you can adjust how strong you want the beef or the chicken bouillon in there if you want to the recipe. But everybody really enjoyed it. It's dairy-free, it's shelf-stable, and it made it really easy for me to whip this up on the stove. So use margarine to make that dairy-free or plant butter. We use a lot of plant butter in this house, and we really, really like it. And it came out absolutely delicious and was a perfect addition to our meal. And you can keep that shelf stable to just grab it in a hurry when you want to prepare it. As many of you know, I've been on a decluttering journey over the last several years. Once I decided to retire, I decided to start downsizing, going through the things I had, donating, giving away, selling some extra things that I didn't need. And I found so many things in the process that have saved me money or made a very big improvement in some of the things that I was already doing. And it kept me from buying anything specific for that purpose. I've gotten so much better at putting things back where they go so I can find them. I feel like when I was working, a lot of times things were just put put wherever, and then we couldn't find them. And I've heard so many people talk about how they know they have things, but they can't find them. And when I was decluttering, I found this great little tiny ladle that works great for our gravy. And we have always used like a really big soup ladle for our gravy, which is ridiculous because it's way too big. But I didn't want to have to buy something smaller. And look, I found one and it works perfect, and I didn't have to buy it. I also have found so many unused checkbook registers. A lot of us don't write checks anymore, but I use these to track my spending. And I have found a bunch of them, and they work so much better than having to go and buy something or keeping it on notebook paper. This is perfect for tracking all of my spending, and I already had them. I also like to keep extra things in the camper and things in the house. And when I didn't know exactly what I had bought extra measuring spoons for the camper. I already had an extra set, so now I have 3. And I thought I needed another potato peeler, but I found a second one, so I didn't have to buy one. So just looking and finding some of these little things that we have can save us several dollars on those shopping trips. Those little items really add up, especially if you're like me in the measuring spoons. Now I have 3 sets. And so that's what decluttering can do for you. It can keep you from buying all of those extra things, and you may already have them and you just don't realize it. For me, going through the bedding, I was sure I knew what I had because I'd been through all those dressers and storage areas. But over Christmas, one of my fitted sheets lost its elastic, and I was sure I didn't have another one that would fit a full-size bed. And when I went back through that bedding, an area I had already done, I found another fitted sheet, and that saved me money from having to go out and buy one during the holiday season. All those little extras can really add up. Now, if someone asked me what is one of the areas that have made one of the biggest differences in my home, you might be surprised. It is our large utensil drawer in the kitchen. We used to open it and shut it, and things would catch, and they didn't want to open and it didn't want to shut. And I didn't realize how much anxiety that drawer caused me when I was cooking. And my husband and I actually went through that drawer together, and we said, do you use this? When is the last time you've used this? And we got rid of a lot of extras and a lot of weird gadgets, because even if you have like spatulas, you have certain ones that are your favorite, and then you have others that you never pull out of the drawer. And so we got rid of a lot of those extra things where the drawer will close and open smoothly. That made such a huge difference in cooking in the kitchen. It lowered my anxiety so much. I didn't realize how much that drawer was stressing me out. It was stressing my husband out. So if you've decluttered an area that made a huge improvement in your life, can you share in the comments what that area was? There are so many small changes that we can make in our life that add up to huge differences. And one of those is those reusable water bottles. I was talking to my husband the other day saying, it used to be that you never saw anyone go into somewhere for even 30 minutes and take a drink with them. Now, no one goes anywhere without those reusable water bottles, including myself. If we take a short 20-minute drive somewhere, I'm grabbing my water bottle because I don't want to stop anywhere to pick up a drink. And I can't even imagine how much money that has saved me over the last 5 years by just making sure that I have that with me. That's how I was able to kick my soda habit. I used to drink so many of those per day, and I hardly ever drank water, and it was not good for me, and it was expensive. But when the prices started going up so crazy, I made myself make a change. And I started carrying that reusable water bottle with me everywhere. And I found that so often before, when I had reached for soda, I was just thirsty. And by making sure I had that reusable water bottle with me and reaching for it, That took care of my quench for thirst, and I didn't need a soda. Now I'm down to drinking one a day or maybe even half of a 12-ounce can per day. And I just keep it open in the fridge and I just grab a little swallow whenever I feel like I really want some. But I've been able to cut back so much just by carrying that with me. And that was just a small change that added up to a lot of money and better health. So as you can see from just some of these examples in this video, small changes can make a huge difference. Whether it is making some of your own things from scratch, decluttering and finding some items that you can use or sell, finding ways to use things that you already have in different ways, like that little checkbook register takes up so much less space and it's so convenient that it makes it a lot more easy for me to track my spending. So just those little changes, like adding a water bottle to every time you walk out the door, they add up to big savings over time. And sometimes we think those little changes just don't make that big of a difference, but they really do make a difference. And when you compound those and you stack them like building blocks in your daily life, you will see a huge difference in the end in your checking account, in your home, in your organization, and in your peace. So yes, I'm going to continue to find more ways to add to my frugal bag of tricks to make my life easier and to make myself have more money in the end, because that's what I like to do in my retirement, is have extra money for the fun stuff. Thanks for listening today. Let me know some small changes you've made that have made a huge difference in your life or in your home. I can't wait to read your comments. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the next video.